Welcome back, everybody, to the Michigan Trails Report. I'm your host, Tom Funk, author of 50 Hikes in Michigan's Upper Peninsula and 50 Hikes on the North Country Trail. I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And today's topic, dispersed camping. Where can I camp in Michigan when I'm hiking, backpacking, or just want to go camping someplace? Well, I will share that with you. It's probably the number one question asked on a lot of our hiking forums. I've actually created a few documents. They're posted at these hiking forums, and we're constantly referring to them. But hey, let's put it in the podcast format while we're at it. But before we do, let's thank my friend Adam Main for providing the music. Adam is a musician in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And our sponsor, Nortive 8, makers of reasonably priced hiking footwear. Visit nortive8.com. All right, how you guys doing today? Before we dive into the specifics of today's topic, we need to go over some essential definitions to clear up confusion about the different types of camping you might encounter. So there are different types of camping experiences, and each offering different amenities and levels of adventure, if you will. And here are the main types. The first one is called modern camping. What is modern camping? Well, this is typically including a campsite with a picnic table, a fire ring, electricity, flush toilets, hot showers. Water is available via faucet or well, and these are the ones that you commonly find at state parks. The next level down, semi-modern camping, and these sites also have a picnic table, fire ring, pit toilets, hot showers, and running water, but they usually leave out one of these things, and it's usually hot showers. So when you have semi-modern camping at a state park, it's because you either don't have access to showers and or you don't have access to electricity. And these are common at national forest campgrounds, some of the more common ones, and also state parks. Then there's rustic camping, and at these sites you're going to find a picnic table, a fire ring, and there will be pit toilets and a hand pump for water. And you can still access these by car, but don't expect showers and electricity at these sites. One that us backpackers are familiar with, and it's a kind of a loosely used term, but let's try to define it here, is backcountry camping. And this is for, the backpackers, the little more adventurous, if you will, and you camp in a designated spot along a hiking trail. And sometimes there's a fire ring or pit toilet, but don't count on it. So permits may or may not be required. Then you have trail shelters, and these are shelters built alongside long-distance hiking trails, especially for backpackers. And typically, no permits are needed, and they operate on a first-come, first-served basis. There are a few exceptions to that on private land. If you know of a shelter that you want to use on private land, you may want to contact the landowner, because sometimes they want to know that you are coming. Then the dispersed camping, and this is the one that causes a lot of confusion because there's actually multiple definitions used by different land managers. Dispersed camping, according to the state of Michigan lands, this involves camping away from a trail outside of an established designated campsite with no facilities. So you basically pitch your tent in the woods. Then the federal government, these are usually, you can park and walk into sites. A few campsites might have a fire ring, and there's usually a pit toilet in the area, and these often require reservations. So dispersed camping federal lands, a little bit more amenities. Dispersed camping, state of Michigan, you're basically wandering out into the woods. Now, the federal government also uses primitive camping, and it's the same definition as the state's dispersed camping. So similar to it, no facilities requires you to be more than a mile from any established campground. So with the state, they ask that you pull a free permit off of their website. You leave it in the woods wherever you disperse camp. Federal government, you don't need to do that. So now let's discuss the different land managers and the rules they enforce about camping. So you're cross-tabbing what kind of camping you're doing with the land manager that manages the land. State of Michigan-owned lands. These are Michigan state forests, state parks, and state game areas, and they're all managed by the Department of Natural Resources. State forests, again, dispersed camping is allowed year-round on state lands, but keep in mind there are no state forest lands south of Mount Pleasant and Midland. So keep in mind, free permit, you can get it at a DNR office, you can download it offline, and you need to be more than a mile from any already established rustic state forest campground. So right from the DNR webpage, dispersed campground is permitted on any state-owned land for free. The campsite must not be located in a designated state park, recreation area, 1 mile within a rustic state forest campground or game area, and must be more than 1 mile from a rustic state forest campground. So there you go. That's right off of their website. Now, in state parks and state recreation areas, camping is only allowed in designated campgrounds. You cannot just wander off into the woods and pitch a tent. You can't do that in any state park. A recreation passport is required for your vehicle to enter the park, and there is always a fee for camping. So if you're traveling by foot or bicycle, there is an exception. State parks will always find a spot for you, even if they're full, though you may not get amenities like electricity or a fire pit. This happened to me once, hiking through Tequamanon Falls State Park. Park was full. They put me in the playground. State game areas. This is a really cool opportunity. It's a little tricky. They only allow it during specific times of year, usually around hunting season. So basically, they don't allow dispersed camping between after turkey season and before small game season. So you're looking at like mid-May to mid-September. Camping is not allowed. But the rules vary by game area. Some offer actually rustic campgrounds that you can actually use. And they do have, some of them had designated areas for dispersed camping. The trick is, if you want to use one of these, check with the local game area. Go into the office and ask some questions and see what you can do. A lot of these guys are pretty amenable to letting hikers use it, especially through hikers. So keep that in mind. Commercial forest lands is one that a lot of us have used, but probably don't even know where they are or what they are. So these are privately owned lands, and they're in a conservation easement with the state of Michigan. They are open to the public for day use activities, hunting, fishing, mushrooming, things like that. The thing is they are open to dispersed camping and backcountry camping. However, you need the permission from the landowner. You just can't do it. So commercial forest lands are very common in areas like the Keweenaw Peninsula. If you ever wondered why you don't see any state lands in the Keweenaw, it's because it's mostly locked up in commercial forest lands. Moving on to the federal government, this is national parks, national lake shores, national forests, national wildlife refuges, and other federal lands. Notice the word national. And here's what you need to know. So national forests, again, you have a lot of rustic campgrounds there. Most are first come, first serve. You can go on recreation.gov and see if they will take a reservation. They also will take reservations for backcountry sites in places like Sylvania, Grand Island, and so those are in the national forest. So, again, you have to be at least a mile from an established campground, just like with state forests. So, there are federally designated wilderness areas, and you can disperse camp in those as well. Each, though, has its own rules. So you have to go to the national forest and look up the wilderness area to see what kind of rules they have. There's rules about how close you can be to a lake and a river, and they kind of vary between wilderness areas. But check that out. But they're pretty much wide open for camping wherever you want there as well. So we do have national parks and lake shores here in Michigan. Rules and permit requires, they vary. For instance, at Pictured Rocks, you must camp in designated campsites with a backcountry camping permit, which you pull ahead of time online only. You cannot walk in and get a permit. If you do, they're going to just tell you to download the app and go on recreation.gov. Isle Royal, you can, they call them walk-in permits. You can walk in and pull a permit with no reservations. Sleeping Bear Dunes mostly requires permits, but North Manitou Island allows camping outside of designated campsites. National wildlife refuges like Seney, no camping. It is not permitted at all. Don't even try. Then there are private lands. Land conservancies own, I think, about 500,000 acres in the state of Michigan. They're typically not open to camping without permission. However, they do allow hiking on designated trails. So when hiking a long-distance trail like the North Country Trail, this is, I don't want to say it's tricky, but just it's actually kind of easy if you follow these steps. You know, it's important to know the difference between the landowners, and because that will dictate how and whether or not you can trailside camp, because you're going through national parks, you're going through national forest, state forest, private lands, and the like. So I actually have a tutorial on my YouTube page on how to use the North Country Trail Interactive Trail Explorer. Here's the trick. And you know, if you're very familiar with the Trail Explorer already, just click on the segment of trail, a little window will open up, and it will tell you if you can disperse camp or not. How cool is that? So if you've never used it before, go to the YouTube page and follow the link and watch the tutorial. It's like 10 minutes long. All right, so there you go. We are wrapping up our definitions and of the different types of camping, different types of landowners. You know, always verify current rules as they frequently change. They're always adding and taking away things off these reservation sites. So it's always a good idea to do your research. Remember, leave no trace. Principle number 1, plan and prepare. So, you know, always do that. That being said, thank you for joining us. Be sure to follow our Facebook page, Michigan Trails Report. Please do visit the website, tomfunk.net, which will direct you to 20 different places, for crying out loud, for all kinds of cool content. Stay tuned for more guides on specific trails and camping areas in future episodes. And don't forget, today's episode was brought to you by Nortive 8, your go-to for affordable and comfortable hiking footwear. Visit nortive8.com for more information. And until next time, happy trails.